plan the Pacers rotation for the upcoming season, which sounds like easy exercise. A lot of similar returning players, and yet left me with a lot of questions. We'll get with Derek Kramer on today's Locked On Pacers podcast.
You are Locked On Pacers, your daily Indiana Pacers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Congrats, you made it through the weekend. Welcome into another edition of the Locked On Pacers podcast, where we, of course, talk about the Indiana Pacers. As always, my name's Tony East. I cover the team for Forbes and Circle City Spin. And today, one of my favorite offseason topics, a rotation. Putting it together for new look Pacers. Kelly slides in. Ivica Zubac with all the guys. What should this minutes allocation look like? How should Tyrese be changed? What should Zubac's be? How much should Oubre play? Who should be playing less than the last time the Pacers were good? Who should be playing more than the last time the Pacers were good? Who should be playing at all or not at all? A very important discussion. Derek Kramer and I have it today, and we ask all the big questions about most of the players and how much they should play and who should be playing instead of who. Very good exercise. One, yes, the Pacers schedule is out. Adam Friedman and I do our usual run through and predictions next Monday. And two, yeah, Ethan Thompson did get waived on Thursday. There was no corresponding move yet. Two-way spot is still sitting open for the Pacers. Once it is filled, we will do a full show on that, but I promise I'm not ignoring it. It did happen. You will get analysis on that when the full roster is done. Let's talk rotation with Derek Kramer from my Pacers blog. It's time for a yearly, very helpful for me, and I hope for you as well, exercise of constructing a fake Pacers rotation for coming season. Who should play more than they have in the past? Who should play less? How do their new additions fit into this? What battles could be coming? Feels like every year there's some quasi-surprise. Is like Jordan Nwora sneaking in there? Is Jarris Walker not playing at all rookie year? Ben Mathurin's playing how much? People forget he was fourth in minutes for them last time this team actually stepped up. Exner's playing how little? Doesn't feel like it was easy for me to come up with surprises for them, but we'll ask the questions that could lead to them this year. And joining me to do so, because he has nothing better to do in August, and it's the last interesting topic that I could get him to do before they are too below his grade. It's Derek Kramer from my Pacers blog. Derek, hello.
Hello. Happy to be here. Excited to talk Pacers basketball. I, like Tyrese Haliburton, would definitely be ready for the season if it started today. I wish it did. I'm just ready. I'm ready to watch competitive Pacers basketball again, please.
A schedule, we know when he will be playing and where. It's very exciting. Yes, I am also
unbelievable that it's not at home. I agree with the fandom and that being crazy. A bummer that the first game back for a regular season game is not in Indy. That is the only takeaway I have from the schedule.
As I already said in the intro, I'll do the schedule show next week. But yes, it's absurd that not if it was a road game in like MSG, OKC, I think everybody would have got it. But like New Orleans,
I would have loved the OKC one just because like that's really the first place.
Yeah.
But
New Orleans, very, very, very strange. Alas,
future team.
Okay, so the place I wanted to start with this is going back to the last competitive Pacers season. And there, look, I'm assuming I'll just give you yes or no. You don't think the lineup should change? No reason that it should, right?
No, yeah. Aaron's starting. Oubre's coming off the bench.
Aaron's much better than Kelly Oubre, with no offense to Kelly Oubre. Kelly Oubre is good. So the starters were obvious. But the questions that evolve from then to now are I think, twofold. Because when I did this exercise and then went back and looked at their finals year, very similar for Nembhard, Nesmith, and Siakam. But my two questions were, I guess this could apply to third player, is one is, when you wrote this down or did this exercise, you put a smaller minutes number for Tyrese Haliburton after his injury?
I did have a slightly smaller minutes number for Tyrese. I started a little, just slightly lower than where I ended up, but yes, I did have a slightly smaller number. And then my, I have a new person that would be leading the team in minutes because
Interesting.
of that.
Interesting. I do not. Okay. The other question was, as Josh Lloyd talked about with me on this show on Tuesday, Rick, Miles Turner was third in minutes on the team, but he was prone to 26 here, 34 here, 27. He always was high 20s, got 30s in the final year. Zubac is still a question mark of not like he's good, but like in this system, what will he look like? Did you land where Turner was? Did you go a little lower? Did the question marks at backup 5 make you go higher? Where did you land for him compared to what Turner's minutes load was?
Remind me what, because I didn't look up the previous rotation. I just went fresh and just went after it. Where was Turner at?
2024-25 Miles Turner played 30.2 minutes per game.
I think it's going to be pretty close. I did have Zubac slightly lower, but that's only because he's only played more than 30 minutes, I believe, once in his career.
So he was. So I'll just tell you, everybody listening, that's the hardest player for me. Haliburton, I was like just a little bit below what he used to. I bet most nights where it's not a back-to-back or some whatever extreme schedule situation, Tyrese's minutes will be about what they were 2 years ago, but back-to-backs, they'll have to be cautious or not play him and things of that nature. Now, McConnell's aging changed things. I have Haliburton at 30. Is that close to you?
Yes, almost exactly.
Okay. And then Zubac, I was toggling between all the factors that I mentioned. Well, man, their backup center position's worse than when Turner was on the team. Like Thomas Bryant was like they were throwing him out there for 16 minutes tonight. And Tony Bradley played every so often, and Toppin played some 5. And that's different now. Toppin's still on the team, but like Jay Huff, can they trust him for 18 minutes per game? But also, like you're saying, Zubac has very rarely been over 30, and this is ending for him. He's 30 years old. So I also planted him on 30 minutes per game. How close for you?
Yeah, so I have Ty at 31, and I have Zubac at 29.
Okay, that is completely reasonable to me, and I think those are the only 2 starters that I think could have like sway of opinion among observers, because everything else and all the other 3 guys, we've seen how important they are to the team. We've seen the pattern of them, and for Aaron Nesmith's case specifically, we've seen he will get in trouble enough that his minutes will not ever reach 30 per game, which is funny because I typed him a higher number at first, and I was like, oh, yeah. That's
probably where I'm flawed, is I have Aaron a little too high because of, sometimes he gets to have the foul trouble.
So I typed mine down, and I went back and looked at the finals year, and I was like, what am I, like, how did Ben Mathurin play so much? Mathurin was fourth at 29 per game for that team. And I was like, how did this happen? I was like, oh, yeah.
I was really surprised as well. I was surprised by the amount of minutes that Ben had.
We both covered every game, and then I look back, I'm like, that happened? Was that high? It's because of 2 things. One is that Nesmith, a lot of time, in fact, Mathurin's playing for him, and there were some games where Mathurin's just so undeniable. You have to play him. You don't have a bench player like that, so I don't have anybody that high off the bench. You do have to reallocate these things, but those, I think the 2 starters we've actually spent real time on, as much interest there can actually be in the starting 5 minutes load for the Pacers, given we've seen history of what it looks like. The only 2 that I thought could be more dynamic than what we've seen. The other 3, Nembhard right at 30, a little bit, minute and a half over what he was in the finals. Nesmith 26, about the same. Siakam 32, about the same. I see no reason to change dynamics of the team with Oubre, with a different backup 5, with Zubac, should change their minutes load. There's one guy that I think, and it's Nembhard, I'll admit that actually could move his minutes around a little bit because of a bench play, but I'm curious if that's where you landed on those 3 too, or if I'm missing something there.
Yeah, so I do have Drew just slightly leading the team in minutes at 33. At 33, just because I think the team's probably, after last year, more comfortable giving him minutes as the solo one if needed, and I think that he probably picks up any minutes that Ty might be giving up. In terms of just, it's probably not going to be TJ because his minutes have been like steadily declining a little bit every year for years now. And then I do have Pascal at 32, same. And then I have Aaron probably a little high, but I do have him at 30. I think he picks up a lot of those Ben minutes that we're missing.
So my number is kind of like what I think they'll end the season at. I think if you like made the Pacers dream or like fouling out wasn't a thing, Aaron Nesmith's number would probably be 30. But the guy who will run through a brick wall for his team will unfortunately run through a defender or an offensive player every so often for his team. Well, I mean that in the highest compliment to Aaron Nesmith, but that will limit his minutes to some extent this season, right? It kind of has to.
This was an interesting exercise because you go back and look at last year's team. One of my favorite facts about that team is they had 27 players that played. Every single one of those players averaged at least 10 minutes a game. Every single one, which obviously last year
they were on the team.
Was a complete thing. But literally anybody, you name any of those 27 guys, even if they were only here for a week, they played at least 10 minutes a game, and they started a game unless they were named Taylor Peter. He's the only guy who didn't start.
I didn't know that. I did not know that. I knew the 10 minutes part because I forget which. It was either, I think it was Cody Martin. I was like, I can't believe Cody Martin played over 10 minutes a game.
Nuts.
I did not know the starter part. That's fascinating. There's so many stats from last year's rotation, like only 2 lineups, one than one game, or one more than one game starting lineups. Yeah. They both had Johnny Furphy. And he told us at the middle of the season, like, what happened? And that's why you can't use last year as a guy for this exercise.
No,
you have
you
to go back. You look at even that if they have a normal injured year this year, it'll be a big improvement over last year, which sounds ridiculous to say. But yeah, that Nembhard, I have a bench reason. I'll ask you the question when we get there, that I also think my 30 could be a little too low. But we've all seen, and I wrote a story on this, like from Rick Carlisle, that they don't want it to be much more than 2, right? They really care about the freshness for the postseason, and for all the bell-kicking sometimes about like, man, they could have won this game if they put this guy in a little earlier. Maybe so, but both their playoff runs, yes, Haliburton got hurt in the conference finals of the first one, but they've been the healthier team in most of their series. An Achilles tear in Game 7 is not, I guess it could be an excuse thing if you want to call it, but like what they're doing is working for their postseason health. It is meaningful, and I don't think they should shake that in the name of moving guys down. Nembhard was at 1 last season, so that is a reasonable place to land. Everybody, quick break so we can talk about Odoo. Running a business should feel like you're trying to connect a bunch of systems that were never designed to work together. You got one app for accounting, you've got another for inventory, you've got another for sales. Somehow, none of them talk to each other. That's where Odoo comes in. Odoo, all-in-one business management software that brings every part of your business in one powerful platform, from sales and accounting to inventory and marketing. You got everything in one place, helping your team move faster, stay organized, and focused on growing your business instead of just managing software. Because the best organizations know success is not just about, it's about everybody working toward the same goal. That's true in sports, just like in business. That's why Derek and I are talking rotation today. Everybody working towards the same goal is literally the point of putting everybody in the right seat on the bus when they're out on the court, along with roster moves all summer, trades, draft picks. That's what the point of a sports organization is. Being reactionary, having a vision, and sticking to it. And great businesses, just like organizations, win because operations matter. And that's why you should get Odoo. Try free at odoo.com/lockedon. That's odoo.com/lockedon. I find bench to be a little bit more compelling and challenging of an exercise to go through. I assume you did as well. I think the basic generic first questions to start with that ask everyone is, are you a 10th man should be Jarris Walker guy or a 10th man should be Ben Shepherd guy? Or the sneaking into my brain while I was on vacation thought of, should Quinn Jackson be the 10th man? I don't think anybody is that, but I'm at least like humoring it.
I'm definitely I love Quentin Jackson. I enjoy him immensely, but he was not under consideration for me for that 10th spot. It was Shep or Walker. I just chickened out and put Shep/Walker for the last minutes because I feel like it's gonna be back and forth, like depending on what they need. I have a feeling that Shep ends up getting a lot of those minutes, and it might be a little rough of a season for Jarris, but I think they're gonna try. I don't know. They have to at least try to get Jarris going, I think, at the beginning. So I think it might start with Jarris, and if he struggles, Shep might be getting those minutes.
This team is the best version of this team is if it's Jarris. The more likely outcome, I think, is that it's Shep. I think that's a reasonable way of putting it. History has guided them that way. So this is ironic, and I'm not going to say the number yet, but I put Jarris in because I suspect because of contract pressure and ceiling pressure and size that he will get the opening night nod, but that's my guess. I don't know. I have the same minutes number for him and Huff, which is important because if they do decide to make their bench topping at the 5, give Huff's minute to Shepherd, and then great, they're playing the same number of minutes. So I kind of have the same as you, but not really. It's a little different.
I can definitely see that. Yeah, I have the Shep walk. I have about 9 minutes, and then I have Huff at 11, but then I have Obi taking like 8 minutes of center.
Okay.
That's how I kind of figured it out.
I do want to get to that because that is to me maybe the biggest minutes thing here. Okay, TJ far off of the finals year for reference. He was sorry, I opened the wrong. He was at 17.9. I put 18 at first because I put Haliburton at 30. And I was like, okay, good, that matches. And I said that to you when we started. I was like, dang, I got close to the finals year by accident. And I was like, I'm okay with that. But that is one that I think could be a little lower. I think that for my Nembhard 30, that could be one of the exchanges is that McConnell is up closer to 16. And Nembhard, like you said, takes some of those solo minutes because of his age. You land on for him? You said it?
Yeah, I have TJ at 17. So right about there.
Yes. Because the way also, like, I hear this a lot, and I think you agree with me. There's a lot of games where he's playing phenomenal, and inevitably it's taken out of the game. People go, why did he get taken out? And it's because, like, there is a very hard minutes limit. TJ McConnell's effectiveness just ends at his age and what it takes to do what he does. So if you get him over 24 or something, he can still play. It's not like he's like gassed, not going to be able to play how he does or do them as well as he does. And that is, I think, why minutes average is lower. One is because he's a backup, but two, because of those kind of factors on his spot in the rotation. And now he turns 35 this year. So also this is a big factor in making sure they monitor the things that they did. And I think they would have monitored his minutes last year, but he tore his hamstring in the first quarter of the first preseason game.
Yeah, I think it's just the biggest thing with TJ is like he's always giving his max effort like 110% anytime he's on the court. And like as he gets older, like he has less time in a game that he can effectively do that. I think that seems fair to say. So I like he's steadily been going down every year. Like I think the last 2 years of his first year's at 17 point something, and I could definitely see that kind of dropping down to 16, especially if they get more comfortable after Nembhard getting all those reps last year with him being like a solo point guard if needed.
The hardest number for me to land on was Kelly Oubre because he's going to be playing lots of positions. He can play 2, he can play 3, in small units. I think he can play 4. He will never be like their best choice for one skill in a group, but he will often be their second or third best choice, which means he can fit in several lineups. I don't think he should climb as high as Mathurin's minutes load was to the number I mentioned earlier. 29 felt too high, but I think he should play over half the game. I think he will lead them in minutes off the bench. So my landing number for Kelly Oubre was 26. How close is that to yours?
Pretty close. I don't have him leading the bench. Actually,
I'm stunned by this. I can't wait to get to this discussion.
Oh, I have him tied. I thought maybe I adjusted something. Yeah, I must have adjusted something. I thought I had Obi slightly higher, but I have Oubre and Obi both at 24 minutes.
That is a reasonable spot. I think that we got to,
which would be a career high for Obi, but I think that I think they're going to need him to have a career high in minutes this year.
So our difference on this is basically just like if you factored in these foul trouble minutes, I think your Oubre number would be a little higher.
That'd be up. Yep.
Yes. Well, again, ideal because I have 26 for both Oubre and Nesmith. I said many times I still think is better, a better player and a better fit. So again, in their ideal world, Aaron Smith is playing. It's like 30 to 24, 30-22, like you have basically, but that's just not what reality has been for them. So again, if Nesmith's foul troubles are muted this season for whatever reason, yes, I'll be wrong in this prediction. But also, like Oubre's kind of their backup too as well, and again, he can play lots of different groups. Do have like that his minutes could change a little bit that I'll get to later, but yes, 20 mid to high 20 would be my prediction.
I agree, and like I said, the day before he actually signed, the last time I was on the pod, like I'm not super confident that the fit's gonna work out with Oubre. Like I'm pretty sure I made the prediction that he'll get traded before the season ends. So we'll see how it goes. I don't think that's like necessarily even a bad thing. I just feel like it feels like a Bruce Brown type of signing where some things will go well, and then he might just be part of a deal during the year. So yeah, I think, I don't know, just something about Kelly makes me feel like maybe Rick could get a little frustrated with how he plays sometimes, but he does make quick decisions. So maybe it won't be as rough as I think it will be.
The reason I think that's reasonable is Bruce Brown was kind of like this too, where they're both generalists. They're both good at lots of stuff. They don't really suck at like anything, but they're not so awesome at anything either. So that's like, when are you putting them on the floor? When's the perfect time? And their minutes get a little from game to game. I'm not calling this a bad thing. I think Kelly Oubre is going to be good for the Pacers, a little better than you do, I think, a ton better. But his salary is also in a very tradable range, which is a real thing to land on. The most linear reason to think they get traded midseason if one of Shepherd or Walker is balling. And they're like, oh crap, got to have some to afford that guy next year. Speaking of Walker, he was 10th guy. You said Walker / Shepherd, whatever. Honestly, for this minutes, I did nothing interesting. I did 96 minus my minutes number for Nembhard, Nesmith, and Oubre, and I got 14. Put 14. Ta-da. Really scientific.
Makes sense to me. Like, I really like I like the call out of like, if they just go Obi as the straight backup 5, like that opens up minutes for both of those guys. So like
Shepherd,
games where they don't need like a bigger backup 5, then they can go ahead and get both these guys out there and they'll play a lot more.
Shepherd played 19.5 minutes per game in 2024-25, and Jarrett played a number that I can't find somehow, 15.8 minutes per game that season. But there was a lot of like, one of them was playing when Nesmith's hurt because he only played 45 games that year. Nembhard who played 65 or whatever. Very rarely were they both hitting that number in the same game last year. Like when they were both playing, those minutes were lower. And so that Jarrett 15.8, I was like, yeah, it's close enough. I'm happy with that. Okay, this is our biggest disagreement, clearly. This is what I did. I went in assuming that obviously I think some top of the minutes basically every game, but not that many. And so because of what you said, Toppin's been pretty steady in minutes his whole career, assumed it would be roughly that. This we'll get to the discussion. I give him 20, and then I did the same thing I did for Jarris for Jay Huff. Just subtract 96 minus the other 3 front court guys of Siakam, Zubac, and Toppin. 14 again. So Jay Huff gets 14. But I do think that as we've been talking, you convinced me that I should bump Toppin up and drop Jay Huff down a little bit.
Yeah, I just feel like, I don't know, what I'm seeing for Huff is maybe he gets like 2 6-minute runs, and that's like his stretch, or 2 5-minute runs, and that's what he gets, maybe like to end the first quarter and to start the second, and those kind of things. Like, and it seems like that's kind of the perfect way you can use Huff. Like, he'll have those like mini microwave bursts where just like everything's awesome, all for like multiple possessions. He'll block shots, he'll hit threes, he'll get a dunk, and then the effectiveness wanes in it. And his stamina was an issue last year. Like, I think those kind of short bursts could be ideal for maybe the most effective version of Huff for the Pacers.
That's a good point. I don't know if you listen to this, but I got a mailbag question about backup center. Will they even play one? And I said this, so to be clear, they're at times best look has 1,000% been top and at the 5. They closed final games with that. They play playoff series with that. But I do think people have a blind spot to like the Knicks series, the Cavs series, the Celtics series. 3 of their, I can't do math. That's not 3. I can do better math. 4 of their 7 playoff series, so over half the last 2 years, they always played a backup center. They never went top of the 5 in those series. Those teams were bigger. Then now, granted, they like between Tony Bradley and Isaiah Jackson and Sticks and everybody.
They did some still, even in those series. Like even game 1, they had Obi at the 5 against the Knicks for most of that run. So even in those series, yes, they did play a backup 5, but they still found spots to play Obi.
But I said that to say what you're saying is true, to be clear. I do think that their default hope or expectation should be that Jay Huff is playing. I don't think that straight up top and is the backup 5 is going to be the answer, right? My first question, because I did the Zoom minutes, tally minutes for the starters question, was how much more time than Huff than the spread I have could there be? I think you're right that it will be wider than I'm saying. But what is the sacrifice of Obi Toppin's trade-off of minutes versus effectiveness? And I think you're right that a little shorter spurts for Huff could be better. I'm not even considering Larry Nance, honestly, this exercise at all, even though that Chad Buchanan kind of hinted at that on setting the pace. So I think it's reasonable to say that their combined minutes can only be 30 to 35 just because of how much people think the starters will play. But how much of that gets allocated to Obi will be fascinating, especially if you want to play Ben Shepherd and Jarris Walker, because then that would also tip things a different way.
Yeah, and I was pretty I had Huff getting slightly more minutes as a backup 5 than Obi. I think I only had it 2 more, but it was just if you're only giving Obi 8 minutes ish as a small ball 5, that's just 2 4-minute stretches most likely.
We have the full spread from their last competitive season. Chris Bryant, 15 minutes a game. Isaiah Jackson, 16.8 minutes per game. Tony Bradley, 8 minutes per game. That feels a little too low. But also he got a lot of junky game minutes. And, of course, who could forget? Moses Brown, 5 minutes per game. Yes, there was a time in the final that Moses Brown was their backup center. He started, right? Didn't he start a game? I don't know.
Yeah, he scored their first 8 points or something.
He did not actually start that game, ironically. That's funny.
Oh yeah, that was what a wild time that was.
A forgotten legend of the final season, Moses. People loved him. For a second. That was so weird. Anyway, James Wiseman only played one game, so that's kind of irrelevant to this. But they have the full spread of there. So kind of hard for me to pull from that. Obviously, Bryant was the most reliable guy by far there, and he was 15-ish. But Huff has yet to be reliable. We got to report the Pacers tried Thomas Bryant. And they had J-Huff right now, right? So I do think it's reasonable to say, listen, that is a good guess. So I'm putting the L on my forehead. I'm wrong. I think right it'll be a little better spread than I predicted. So closer to 10 to 12 Huff and 20 to 24 for Toppin, which would be new for Obi. That will be interesting to see what kind of draft that has. I have these as just generic questions to lob up of Shepherd ? Jackson ? They do have to decide that. They all just decide something so different. It might just it's impossible to change every game. You just your guys in a rhythm. But I can see them going, dang, they need another ball handler and picking Q. I don't think they'll pick Q to be, but I can see that. Jarris Walker, obviously, like I said, I think gives them the highest ceiling. I think Ben Shepherd is the most reliable thing, and the him plus McConnell plus Toppin trio has been this thing going for their bench for years. And I could explain all of these decisions. I think it's going to be, but here's the reason I asked the question is I think it'll be 14, 15, 12, whatever for whichever one of those three does get the 10th man spot.
Yeah, and I think you're right. There'll be nights where maybe they just need a burst of energy and TJ isn't quite providing it and they throw Q out there because he can have that kind of effect at times. But yeah, I don't see him breaking into the rotation consistently. And then you think about what about Furphy when he's back and healthy? He showed flashes last year of being another small ball 5 option of he deserves a chance to play in the rotation too. They have a lot of options. It's hard to figure out how to make that last spot especially work. Obviously in the season, you have so many injuries that each of these guys is going to have their moments and their chances. But yeah, what do they do when everybody's healthy?
I am aware the comment is coming, so we will address this now. I don't know if you truly feel this way, but I feel this way, and I'm going to speak and then see how you go. Someone's going to say, can't they just play 11? Can't they just play 12? I think that teams have realized over decades of basketball, the answer to that question is no, because that player is playing so little that they come in, they spend a little bit of time figuring out what's needed of them and their matchup and all this stuff, and then they're out. And then you can't be effective. You just can't. It's too hard. There's a minute's minimum you have to hit to get the feel of the game and be effective. And of course, knowing what's coming every night helps you prepare for that time and be your body feels a certain way. If you're bad, you can play 11 or 12 guys because you're bad. But if you're a real competitor and you're trying to win, I think we've seen that no, you just can't. You just can't do it, and they have to make these hard decisions. Yeah,
there's just no way to do that, at least not a consistent, this is the plan that we want to do. Obviously, there's moments you're going to need an 11th guy to try something that's because something's not working, somebody's having an off night, whatever. We see that all the time. But yeah, just trying in a consistent 11-man rotation it just doesn't work.
My last bench-ish related minutes question was, we hinted at this earlier. Because he's turning 25 and you just had to be careful with his minutes and he had a muscle injury literally 5 into his season last year in the preseason. I have McConnell at 18. You had him at 17. Even one at less than that. 15 balls to the wall minutes is great. But you can't, maybe you can if he looks healthy outright, but like it's risky to just tip that to Tyrese Haliburton because of what happened to him last year. So my full note of question is basically like McConnell less, the way that would be Andrew Nembhard, some of his minutes come at the backup one instead of on the wing, and the winner gets more minutes in exchange of all this is actually Kelly Oubre, who gets to play more 2-3 from the Nembhard spot. That's a very convoluted way. But I actually do think there's a route for Oubre's minutes, if he fits really well, especially being a little higher than I'm saying, the expensive TJ McConnell, and it's not that hard to get there, but that requires some point guard health also.
Yeah, I think I had a few of my minutes for Aaron. I think I had going like maybe him seeing some time at the 2 in those situations where they only had one point guard. So that's part of my minutes for Aaron being a little higher without considering his potential for foul trouble. And that could be an avenue for Q to get a few minutes a game, but obviously that brings in the whole 11th man thing that doesn't, like, you just can't expect a guy to be very successful if he's only playing a couple minutes.
We've named guys. Sincere apologies. Jalen Slauson, Braden Smith, Kobe Brown, Larry Nance, and Johnny Furphy.
Hey, I named Johnny Furphy.
It's true, you did. We said Larry Nance if you're saying that, I guess. Sorry to you 5. I currently have no plan for you this year. I don't think that unless there's lots of injuries. But this exercise is pointless if there's lots of injuries.
Yeah.
Last year. You know what's funny? Last year, rotation, and I never once brought up Garrison Matthews or Jeremiah Robinson Earl. What was I thinking?
I can't believe you didn't see that coming. Sorry, Gabe McLaughlin, the only guy who didn't get a chance to play.
I had a commenter being like, Ray J. Dennis and Mac McClung are going to play the same game. You idiot. What are you doing? Get on. And sure enough, they were right. So
very smart commenter, yes.
Yeah. What do I know? I have no other. I typed down all the questions that I struggled with, my numbers. I have no other questions if you don't, and then I will just read off my minute.
I don't think I have any more. No.
So I have Haliburton 30, Nembhard 30, Nesmith 26, Siakam 32, Zubac 30, and a second unit, McConnell 18, Oubre 26, Walker 14, Toppin 20, Huff 14. But you persuade me that of those 10 players I named, if I did make a single change, it would be Toppin like 22 or 24 and Huff at like 10 or 12.
Yeah, so we're very, very similar. Like I have Ty at 31, Drew at 33, Aaron at 30, Pascal 32, Zubac 29, and then the bench is Obi and Oubre both at 24, TJ at 17, Huff at 11, and then the remaining 9 minutes split between Shep and Walk.
Whoever it is. And it's reasonable. I look forward to comments about what we got wrong, which is nothing, obviously.
Yes,
please share to at iPacersblog on social media. Derek, where can people find you and the things you say?
Yes, you can find stuff that I say on Blue Sky at iPacers, on Twitter at iPacersblog. Me and Kyle Taylor will be bringing the live show back.
Yes.
This season. We've had some talks about what we want to do. I think we're going to do like a show just on a specific day every week. So we're more consistent, and then it'll either be a post-game show, or if it's a West Coast trip, it'll be a pre-game show, or if there's not a game that day, it'll just be a show to just have fun and talk Pacers, and we'll make it a consistent one day a week, whatever day we choose kind of thing.
Hopefully no fiery themes. That would be my hope for your show.
I would love to. I took it off today. I was feeling pretty positive.
Yeah, I forgot what your videos look like.
Even though like my entire town of Anderson, like every bridge is about to be completely flooded. But I'm staying positive. We're doing all right. So I'm not in basketball hell right now. Let's keep it that way. Seeing Tyrese do an East Bay was enough to get me out.
Yeah, holy cow. I like that he admitted that he's like, I've done that in years. I was like, okay, I've never seen you do that ever. Yeah. So
he said he hadn't done it since he was like 20 or something.
Yeah. I'm not like this dude dunked so infrequently. Him and Buddy Hield had a count dunk contest multiple seasons in a row, and I'm like, oh, you can East Bay. Sure, okay, that's great. Yes, also good segue. If you live in central northern Indiana, It did rain a lot in the southern parts of the state, but I hope you're safe. Very scary weather this week. Just a lot of volume. I had a realization, Derek, that I'm turning 100 because at one point on Tuesday it started pouring, and I thought, man, we needed this. And I've never said that in my life.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm 1,000.
We don't need it anymore.
I'm officially 1,000 years old. But then it became, we needed this to like, whoa, too much, shockingly quickly. So stay safe, everybody. There's lots of water all over the state. I have nothing else today, Derek. You don't. So next week we will be doing, as I mentioned at the top, Ethan Thompson on what's going on with that. Assuming they fill the spot, we'll do a show on that. Adam Freeman and I will be back for our scheduled preview show in which he sadly beat me again. Can't wait for that. Derek is doing that phone home ET. We will see Ethan Thompson. Hopefully it's a bag from Parton, as reporting suggests. Thank you all so much for listening. See ya very soon.